5 legendary outlaws of the Wild West.
Jesse James, Billy the Kid,
Butch and Sundance.
Their names remain etched into American folklore, even though their legacies are built on violence and crime. Train robberies, horse theft,
Cattle rustling, shootouts,
cold-blooded murder.
The most infamous outlaws of the 19th century frontier have long been romanticized as daring rebels, thanks to dime novels, pulp tabloids, and Hollywood.
Over time, their crimes have been overshadowed by the myth of rugged individualism and the spirit of defiance they came to represent.
Americans love an underdog, a figure who rises against tyranny, wrote Bill Markley in Billy the Kid and Jesse James, outlaws of the legendary West.
Jesse James and Billy the Kid embody that rebellious spirit. People look past the bloodshed and see the romance of the rebel. Here are 5 of the West's most notorious figures, whose legends still loom large despite the bloody truth behind them.
1.
Jesse James.
Born in Missouri in 1847, Jesse James grew up in a Confederate slave-owning household. As a teenager during the Civil War, he and his brother Frank joined a guerrilla band that slaughtered Union soldiers.
For Jesse, the war never truly ended.
He channeled his bitterness into a career of robbing banks, trains, and stagecoaches. Often cast as a Robin Hood figure, James robbed wealthy Union sympathizers and Reconstruction supporters, but there's no proof he ever gave his loot to the poor.
With the James Younger gang, he pulled off more than 20 robberies across multiple states, taking in around $200,000 and leaving behind a trail of bodies.
Newspaper editors like John Newman Edwards, a Confederate ally, fueled his myth, publishing Jesse's letters and framing him as a heroic outlaw.
In 1882, with a $10,000 bounty on his head, Jesse James was betrayed by Robert Ford shot in the back at age 34.
2.
Billy the Kid. Henry McCarty, better known as William Bonney, or Billy the Kid, was born in 1859, probably in New York City, before drifting westward.
Orphaned young, he slipped into crime early, starting with petty theft and jail escapes. By his late teens, Billy had joined gangs of horse thieves and killers in New Mexico. His name rose to notoriety during the Lincoln County War, a bloody feud that cemented his image as a fearless gunslinger. Legend claims he killed 21 men before age 21, though the real number was likely closer to 9. To many, he symbolized the scrappy outsider battling corrupt lawmen and businessmen.
Hunted relentlessly, Billy was gunned down by Sheriff Pat Garrett in 1881, with a $500 reward on his head.
He was just 21 years old. 3. Belle Starr. Myra Mabel Shirley, born in 1848, grew up in Texas in a Confederate supporting family. Known later as Belle Starr, the Bandit Queen, she moved in outlaw circles from her teenage years, when Jesse James and the younger brothers used her family home as a hideout. She married 3 outlaws in her lifetime, was arrested multiple times for horse theft, and became notorious in the press as a ruthless criminal mastermind.
In truth, much of her legend was exaggerated. There's little evidence he ever led a gang or staged major robberies.
On February 3, 1889, at age 40, Belle Starr was ambushed and murdered near her Oklahoma home.
The killer was never found, though some suspected her own son.
Within days, newspapers branded her the most desperate woman on the frontier, cementing her as a Wild West icon.
4. Butch Cassidy. Robert Leroy Parker, born in Utah in 1866, came from a poor Mormon family.
As a teenager, he learned the outlaw trade from a cattle rustler named Mike Cassidy, later borrowing his surname to become Butch Cassidy. Cassidy's first recorded crime was a bank robbery in Colorado in 1889, netting $20,000.
Soon after, he formed the Wild Bunch, a notorious gang that included Harry Longabaugh, better known as the Sundance Kid. Together, they pulled off a string of bank and train robberies, including a $70,000 haul from Ohio Grande train.
Eventually, with lawmen closing in, Butch and Sundance fled to South America, continuing their outlaw ways. Most accounts say they died in a shootout in Bolivia in 1908, though rumors persist that they escaped and lived under assumed names.
5. John Wesley Hardin, perhaps the deadliest of them all. John Wesley Hardin claimed to have killed more than 40 men, insisting each needed killing.
Born in Texas in 1853, the son of a preacher, Hardin showed a violent streak, early stabbing a classmate and killing his first man at 15. By his early 20s, he was already infamous as a ruthless gunman.
He murdered lawmen, soldiers, and civilians, constantly on the run. In 1877, he was captured by Texas Rangers and sentenced to 25 years in prison for killing a deputy sheriff.
Behind bars, Hardin studied law, found religion, and even became a lawyer after his release in 1894. But he soon returned to violence, ordering assassinations and stirring up trouble.
On August 19, 1895, his story ended when Constable John Selman shot him dead in an El Paso saloon.